Hey, Wimborne World Entertainment, and I wasn't going to review this movie, but seeing as it is the spooky season, and it's brand new, and it's meant to be a horror and all that stuff, I basically went, screw it, I'll give it a whirl, why not? And after watching it, from start to finish, it's not that long, it's only like an hour and a half long movie. Where does it rank in terms of the previous three? Of course, the two Ron Perlman and Del Toro's movies, and of course the David Harbour reboot, which only happened, 2019 I believe that was. Where exactly does this fit in? Where would I rank this in line with those other three movies? Well, my feelings for this movie is, come back David Harbour, all is forgiven. Yeah, seriously, this thing is horrendously bad. It is pure, utter trash. I cannot believe how bad this movie is. From the writing, to the dialogue, to the directing, to the acting, to the editing, the sound, you name it, man. It's horrendous. It's practically unwatchable. I'll go out as far to say that. Now, I've seen a few people saying it's actually quite good. They must have been loaded on drink before they watched it to think that. Now, the one thing I will give it is the guy who's actually playing Hellboy, Jack Casey, I think is how you say his name. He's okay. He's not great, but he's okay. The girl that's with him, she's fine. She's nothing special. Everything else, and I literally mean everything else, is some of the most overacting crap you've ever seen in your life. This movie has to be, hands down, the worst movie I've watched this year. And that's saying something, because my god, have I seen some crap this year. But by Jesus, this thing takes the cake. So the biggest issue you would have if you dare to watch this movie, and I will say it right now, hands down, do not watch this movie. Especially if you liked any of the previous movies. Do not watch this movie. But it opens, and I literally mean opens, like a TV show. And then it jumps to the next scene like a TV show. And it concludes like a TV show. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. It literally opens like you get the studios who are making it, their names popping up. And then it just bursts into like the logo. Well, the logo's kind of doing this little twitchy hop around the screen, and you're seeing like a forest. It's kind of moving through a forest, and it's like, wow, this literally like a fan-made movie, the way it looks. But then it jumps right into the action, and the thing you see in the trailer with the train, that's the opening scene with, and I will say this, some of the worst CGI you've ever seen. I mean, we're talking CW levels of CGI. Again, no exaggeration. And they're starting off with all this action, and Hellboy and the woman he's with, who's, I think her name, what's her name? Bobby, I think it was, interacting with one another. And this is also where it very much feels like a TV show, because they're interacting and having conversations with each other. That makes you as the viewer think, we probably should have seen more of this, because they're trying to make it feel like they've been with each other for X amount of time. So, think of the very first episode of a TV show and how you see characters interact. You're kind of getting to know them and seeing them kind of dropping information of who they are and where they're from. Yeah, none of that in this. They are literally talking like we're in about 20th episode of a season. That is how they interact. And you're just like, okay. And the movie just, from the word go, it falls off a cliff. Literally. Because they're on that train and they fight this big spider that just, oh my god. I've seen video game effects that looked better than this thing. But the train car they're on is like the middle one on the train. And it doesn't break off. It breaks off to roll down a hill and doesn't take any other part of the train with it. I'm just like looking at it going, that's not how that works. And then it just, the overacting just balloons from there on in. That our two main characters, Hellboy and this Bobby one, they're trying to capture the spider, which shrinks, falls down this shore thing. Apparently they're in coal mine country, and they come across a house with just weird crap going on. And you're like, what the hell is going on? Then the next main character shows up, who's called Tom, and he apparently made a deal with the Crooked Man. Oh, the Crooked Man, by the way, the actual villain in this movie. Holy Jesus. Again, horrible design, horrible makeup, and talk about overacting. My good God. But what is the actual story? Fuck if I know, to be honest with you. And I literally mean this. I had no goddamn idea what was going on. Because from what we were seeing was meant to be Hellboy and Bobby were meant to be getting this spider transported to wherever. We're not even told where they're going. It escapes. She's not meant to be out in the field. This is her first time out in the field. And they come across this house with people in it, and there's a kid with a mark on it. It's like witchcraft or some shit. And Bobby instantly wants to go with the guy Tommy to a witch's house. And you're like, what? What is going on? And they find this thing, this round ball of fluff type thing that I thought was actually a piece of shit, to be honest with you. And it's not. They're called witches balls. Yeah. And then we get this just bizarre, like the screen just goes poof and it goes black and you're into the next scene. You're like, wait, what just happened? And it does it again, and then we're with this old woman who gives you the information as she's meant to be talking to a crow or something. And she's giving you the information how to make a witch's ball. Apparently now the crow she's actually talking to is the Crooked Man. He turns into a crow, apparently. You don't realize that at the time, but her acting is the first that really is just like, wow, this is some batshit crazy acting. And they literally explain out the entire process of making these witches balls. And then you get to meet this character who is the next horrendous with acting. The character called Cora, who is the woman you see in the trailer twitching with her mouth wide open and the snake going around. By the way, that's the last real scene you see with her. She just vanishes for some reason in the movie. But when we find her, it's like her skin on a bed, and then a raccoon comes in and climbs in and turns back into her, fills out the skin. It's like, you're just going, what the hell am I watching? And it just goes worse and worse and worse and worse as it goes on. Joseph Marshall, who would be best known to people as Jeffrey from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's a reverend in this, a blind reverend. My good Christ, this dude must have been hard up for some cash, because even his acting is god awful. Like, it's staggering to see a movie where every single person, well, just about every single person, all bar two, are doing the most overacting garbage you've ever seen, with some of the most unbelievably stupid dialogue you've ever heard. And they're all trying to do these southern accents, like really hard southern accents. And I think they're trying to go that hard because none of these people are American. You know, the girl that's meant to be this weird sexualized witch, she's Irish. The one who plays Cora, she's British. The one that plays Hellboy's mother, who you see every now and then, I couldn't figure out what goddamn accent she was doing. I think she's British as well. Like, almost the entire cast is British. It's just like, what is going on? What am I watching? It's no surprise this thing was not put in cinemas, especially in the States. It did come out in cinemas around the world. The budget on this, the budget was $20 million. Now, that is staggering when you see how piss poor the effects are in this. The locations are fine. The locations actually look decent. All the makeup looks terrible. Even Hellboy, his makeup looks terrible. 20 million. It's being released internationally, not in the States on the big screen, but internationally it has. And it has wrapped up a whopping $1.3 million. Yeah, that's the box office it made, was $1.3 million. And I'll tell you now, if this thing came out in the cinemas in the US, I think you could safely bump that number up to probably 1.5. This thing is, oh my god, I don't even know what to say about it. Honestly, there's no fun in it. Like, there's no type of jokes or anything. There's no humor whatsoever. They try here and there, and it just does not land. It's not scary, you know. They do try and do all of these jump scares, but they're the most predictable jump scares you've ever seen. You're like, oh, he's gonna come through the wall right here. Boom, comes through the wall. It's like, oh, they're gonna turn around. This thing's gonna jump out, and boom, it does that. You're like, wow, I can predict everything that it's doing. The effects on animals, for some reason, everyone turns into animals. Yeah, CW worth of crap. My God, how this thing got greenlit and how $20 million was invested in this is unreal. This thing, don't waste your time. I would rather go back and watch that pile of garbage that David Harbour did as a Hellboy movie. I'd rather watch that 100 more times than ever sit down to watch this piece of shit ever again. Avoid it. Avoid it at all costs. So, what do I give it out of 10? I give it a -1. Yeah, a -1. This thing gets nothing. It is the worst movie I've seen this year. Horrendous. So, with that, I shall leave it there for this one. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.